I used to have this badge on Counter-Strike, which is a 10-year token. Okay. And I used to have this because I've played Counter-Strike for like 20 years now, 24 years actually. There's no 20-year token for some reason. You think there would be, there's not. Well, I've been getting my ass with my kids for like 7, 8, 10 years now. My reflexes are terrible. The only thing I'm going for me is I have better leadership skills and I have like good strategy. You don't see the result until all of a sudden you type in a sentence and it finishes your sentence. And you're like, oh my God, it's alive, right? You have to like put stuff in a terrarium and all of a sudden it lives. I can't tell it's living or not. It's probably not, you know? So I have no idea. There's a moment when you can tell, and the answer is not right now. And we launched a token as of 2 days ago. And the market cap is almost 300 grand, which is whack. Like this money's fake because it's not real.
As well, you can launch something and instantly you have this, this numerical value on the screen that's like, wow, it's like this, it's like created out of nowhere.
All right. Hey, Ed.
Hey, Adil, how's it going?
Okay, so you were asking me if I have an agenda, and okay, all the pods don't have an agenda. I don't know if viewers know this or not. Okay, occasionally I prepare something to talk about, but normally I just try to be an interesting place and do a pod. But I always have like a couple little things. But normally I don't. I try not to like um rehearse, I think, because it's not fun that way. I just don't enjoy like prepping for pods, I think. I don't know. Like, did you want to talk about anything there?
Uh, no, it's just, well, it makes sense. You just yap. If it's you and Chris, it's your regular thing. You guys are on the same page or you've covered different topics, but I want to avoid duplicating anything that you've chatted with Perry extensively about or with Chris. Although maybe it's interesting to talk about the same things with slightly different views on it as well. So I guess, the things I was expecting to maybe talk about, I'd love to hear about your travels. You are where now, are you?
Okay, I'm in Africa right now. I'm in East Africa, and I got to an island called Zanzibar in the last
Yep. Okay.
2 days. You know where I am? Somewhat.
Uh, it's like a resort kind of island, right? It's like a holiday spot. Zanzibar is, right? Like beaches, but it's like also like tourist based, right? Like I think it's pretty
Um,
well known for tourism.
I think it is well known. Okay, so I don't know if you know this or not, but I have family that lives in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. And I've never been to Africa. My dad was
Mhm.
born in Dar es Salaam, and so I spent a week there, and then I really just wanted to. I don't know. I love islands, so if I have a chance to go to
Mhm.
an island, I'll go to one. You know, everybody's been okay. Wait, everybody's been telling me like, okay, like, until you go to Africa, go to the safari, right? Like, go to the Serengeti, and I'm just
Mhm.
like, yeah, I know, but I don't really want to. I just want to go to a beach because I'm a beach bum. So I got as close. Okay, I love beaches, so I went to in my opinion, I think the best beach on the island, which is the northeast side of Zanzibar, which just looked like the right beach. And when I say right beach, I mean like ability to swim, um, easily, like just being able to go to the ocean, and then like good sand. Hopefully there's like palm trees and shade. Like I think beaches that don't have shade kind of are too hot. And then thirdly, I like wind, so you can have sports like windsurfing or surfing or kite surfing or something that makes kayaking or I don't know. Wind always makes a beach better slightly, you know. So I'm somewhere
Mhm.
there, which I'm kind of off the windy side of the beach.
So, first impressions of the beach there, how does it compare to Asia? You spent a lot of time in Japan at the beaches. I guess you've been all over, Southeast Asia, and then, Mexico. So, how did those rank for you there?
Ooh, I don't know yet. I don't think I've come to a conclusion yet because I have only been here just recently. The sand is beautiful. Um, I think,
It's white sand, right? Like super Wilson.
excuse me. Yeah, it's white sand. I think this time around I booked something a little nicer because I thought my uncles were gonna come stay with us, but right now I have like a beautiful beach house right off the beach. I can see the beach from my window, and like it's like steps away from the ocean, right? But it's just me and my dad here. I'm hoping my uncle comes in a day or two, with his wife, and we have this beautiful place for it, so it should work out. How does it compare? I mean, um, I think, in my opinion, beaches are different through wherever you stay. Like within, like, okay, my beach is it's got a really shallow shelf, and that means that like only when the tide is in can you swim. So otherwise,
Yep.
it's too shallow and it's too rocky and mucky. So you need the water
Okay.
to come out. Unless I had some really good water shoes. I see fishermen when it's shallow, but it's a really long shelf, so it's really shallow. So you want the water to be in. And I went for a swim this morning, my first swim in the ocean, and it was sweet. Um, is it the best? I think a coved beach is probably better for swimming, just because you get a little more security in terms of like calmness. But again, I want it to be on the windy
Mhm.
beach because I want to try to go windsurfing in a day or two here. So I'm gonna try to kite surfing. I think kite surfing. Yeah. How does it
Nice.
compare?
Nice.
Like, I mean, islands. Okay, wait. Africa's pretty poor. This is different. It's a different than an Asia beach. Yeah.
Is it not bougie there? Like, I thought it was kind of like you know, a resort holiday making kind of destination to go to Zanzibar. Like, I thought those like, like things are definitely more tourist oriented there in terms of
I got a question.
even
What,
like
what
I
was the
think the
last?
videos I've seen is like shops, walkways. Yeah.
No, not where I am. Okay, wait a second.
Okay.
What was the last beach you were at? What was the last island you were at? Island.
Uh Island, Bali, I think. Yeah. But I don't
Oh,
I don't think I even went to the beach last time I was in Bali.
you're not a beach person.
Yeah.
Why okay. Wait a second. How Bali's pretty small, right? How big of an island is Bali?
I mean, Bali is pretty small. I think you can go around the whole thing, but the thing is traffic is pretty bad there, so it takes a while to get around, but it is pretty small. I think like from the airport to the center is Ubud, and then I think maybe it's like another halfway up. I mean, you can cross the whole thing in maybe 3, 4 hours, I think, maybe 5 or 6, depending on traffic.
Okay, well
Yeah.
that sounds about the same as Zanzibar. Zanzibar, I think you could cross from north to south in 3 to 4 hours, or even an hour and a half if you
Okay.
were fast on the highway, maybe two. We crossed from the port city to the East Coast in an hour. So, but north south's a little longer. But here's something I've learned though. Yes, it's bougie at the coast, but if you go inland, it's not bougie. Like inland is always
Mhm.
like tribal and jungly and like poor. So like even the island I was
Well, because tourists don't stay inland.
oh, exactly. But you know me, I always
Yeah.
rent a motorcycle because I like
Yep.
getting out of the resort jail, as I call it. I hate being resort
Mhm.
jail. I like having freedom.
Yeah, of
So,
course.
so I got my motorcycle my first day. It took me a long time to learn how to find a motorcycle here. It was actually a hard challenge. Um, but I got my motorcycle and I rode to the poor district. So I just think that to me, Africa feels poorer than I don't know. This is certain. It feels poorer than Vietnam, I think. I can't tell. I can't tell actually. I'm not sure. It feels okay. Wait, I think I'm a little more scared here. I can't explain why. I feel just it feels more dangerous. I don't know why. Maybe it's like psychological, but I see. Okay, wait. There's like my dad was telling me there's this like type of warrior person who like carries a stick and this like dress thing, right? And there's those
Mhm.
people walking around all over the place, and some of them are just for show at the resorts to like look cool. But
Sure.
then,
Yeah.
but then there's also a lot of that in the inland, and then also this is very Muslim. Like the whole island is very
Okay.
Muslim, so there's a lot of hijabs. There's
Mm.
yeah. Okay, wait. What have I seen so far that's been sketchy? Okay, I saw something that was really sketchy. Our driver who drove us from the West Coast to East Coast, we had like a nice taxi driver. Um, some dude like tried to stop the van by like kind of like stunted. He like purposely like put his body in the way and moved out the last second just to like punk the driver. And I was like, "That was interesting. That was pretty whack." I've seen more guns here, like, I've seen, like, m more military people. Um, there was a goat cart that almost crashed into our taxi on the way over, which is kinda crazy too. Yeah, I know, this is sketchier. This feels sketchier, and okay, wait, I know what's sketchier. I went for a motorcycle ride today for an hour, and I passed 4 police checkpoints, and they were stopping tourist vehicles, like the private cars, for, like to find them and stuff. Like, I could tell they were just, like, targeting. Um, and
Just a tourist shakedown,
yeah,
basically, or
tourist shakedown for sure.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, you know,
Yep.
if your driver doesn't have the chops to, like, have the wave or, like or their driver has bad licensing, you know, they'll find you, right? If you're, you know so I think,
Mhm.
um, it definitely feels a little rougher here from what I can tell. It's something I didn't see in Asia as much.
Do you have, cell service everywhere? I'm just curious. Like,
Yeah,
do you lose cell
yeah.
service when you go out?
Um, a little bit, but so far it's been pretty amazing. On the coast, it's been amazing. Inland, it's been amazing. I don't know. I haven't. I've had some cellular drop. Like, okay, if I walk like a few blocks away from here inland, yeah, I think I lost some because there's like no houses in the resort because it's under construction. But um, for the most part, it's been pretty amazing. Whenever I've been around people.
So I asked that because, like, to me, that's probably one thing that makes things feel a bit sketchy. Like, let's say you go an hour inland on your bike and you have no cell service, right? I mean, we're so reliant on it for routes or if anything happens to you or if you had to call for help or something. I mean, compared to Vietnam, you can be, on a mountain in the middle of nowhere and you have, 5G downloading, 100 MB per second, right? So, it's like one of the most well-connected places. Yeah, I mean, I think, we both know that the safety level in Southeast Asia is paramount. I mean, I feel much safer there than, walking around at night, I'd say downtown Calgary even. So,
Yeah, that's interesting. I think so far everybody's been really friendly in Africa. I don't think I have any proof that it's not safe, to be honest. My
mhm,
dad lost his cell phone on the ferry ride over, and we were able to get it back. Like,
mhm.
um, so I mean, there's some aggressive taxi drivers always. There's always aggressive taxi drivers trying to get you to,
Of course.
there's tons of people trying to talk to you on the beach, trying to sell you stuff, tours and whatever, necklaces, whatever. Not where we are, but kind of down the road. And then, um, I'd say in the city I was in, that felt sketchier. Also, I was just
Oh,
new there.
really?
Yeah, I was in the city. It's 6 million people. In Dar es Salaam, we were in the center of the city, and wow, it's pretty rough. Um, it's rough because there's shanty towns everywhere, and there's um, the poor divide is pretty phenomenal. Like the okay, what's the cliche? Like an African woman holding a thing on her head, yeah, all the time,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Right outside the hotel, right? Like that's normal there, right? And I can tell like the class divide between rich and poor. Like people are living on no money, right? And um, if you okay, wait, I was
So are
sitting,
we talking
yeah,
so I'm trying to get a visual here. Are we talking, like I think like the two visuals that come to mind when I think like more of like a great poverty kind of slum feel is either you have like, the metal cladding kind of walls, right? So you see this like in poor parts of like say Philippines and stuff, right? Where it's pretty much like, hey, we have some sheets of metal and then we just have like pretty much any loose sticks we can have, and then we might have a tarp that's like kind of roped onto things. Or then like the other visual that you have, I think that people get is like the District 9 kind of uh do you remember this movie with, like, the
I
aliens where
totally,
they live
totally
like,
do,
they
yeah, yeah.
basically you put yeah, yeah. So, it's, like, kinda like that because I think that was filmed in somewhere in Africa as well, right? I think they filmed
South Africa,
parts of that
probably,
movie.
if I were to guess.
Yeah.
I think District 9 was about like South Africa, minority divide between,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was the whole story. But um, okay, wait a second. I think okay,
Like,
I
give me a
think
visual here, like, what
okay.
what type of
So
materials are we talking for the houses, right?
you totally got it. There's cladding. There's cladding, right? But there's
Okay.
also people
Yep.
sleeping on cardboard on the street.
Okay.
A lot of places. Now, I mean, like right on the street because it's warm enough, and why not? Um,
Yep.
like, so like all over the place. Um, so people sleep on the street on cardboard. You know, lots of them.
Hmm.
Um, I think that looks very normal. Here's something. Okay, here's a visualization. There's there's guards everywhere. So like
Hmm.
the hotel has like a dude sitting in a chair, just like uniformed up, just like asleep on a plastic chair,
Hmm.
just there to intimidate anybody who wants to do something dumb. Um, it feels like the there's been bouts of violence in the past, where you could handle that with guards or locks or something. So like it feels like revolution has happened in the past, and they know to handle it, by having the rich people surrounded with some makeshift, stuff. Okay, I've counted 4 different types of weapons. I've seen an AK, I've seen a shotgun, I've seen, what else? Like, a different kinda rifle. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of guns. So, like, it's definitely feels more authoritative in terms of, you know, things could go wrong, um, if that makes any sense. Yeah. I mean, I don't speak Swahili, which is, like, the native, language here, and
Hmm.
that makes it really challenging. Many people speak English, and partial English too, but, you know, because I'm Indian, there's a lot of Indians who live in East Africa, so people kind of think I should be able to speak it, right? Like, there's a lot of, and this is the messed up thing as well. There's so many poor Indians, poor blacks, rich Indians, and I can't tell the difference. Like a poor African has Nikes, and a rich African has Nikes, and I can't even like you can't even tell because that's like a cultural thing. Like so I can't even tell um who's rich and poor sometimes. 'Cause I'm like, "Oh, you're Indian. Wait, you're poor. Oh, shit. Okay." Like, um, you know, I went to the casino.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
that's quite different from Asia because I think like in Southeast Asia, it's very clear the wealthy and the poor, right? Like even I'd say even like in Thailand, right? The wealthier try to look more light skinned, and usually the dark skinned come from the poor provinces. Um, so you don't really have many visual cues for that. So there, like it's just different.
To me, it feels confusing. Okay, I think okay, what's confusing here? I think there's 3 different classes, like, sort of. Like, there's if you're white, you're a certain class. You might be from South Africa, you are one of the people from the British colonies who, are part of, Africa somewhat, who are, part of the origins of it. Then there's, I think Indians is another tier. Like, a lot of Indians are rich who came to East Africa to do businesses, and they kind of set the British roots as well. And then you have blacks. So that's sort of the 3 classes, but then it switched. Like, I was at the, casino, which is right in the hotel where I was staying. And first of all, the stakes were the same as Calgary. People had bigger stacks than I was
Mhm.
expecting. They were playing like $3, like was the blinds, and people had $500 in front of them, easy. Playing over the place, and there was many rich, Africans there, who looked way richer than me. So it's not like I was, in that hotel there was tons of rich people. To be honest, it feels like there's tons of economy here. It feels like there's tons of like happenings. It's really growing. What my uncle told me is like the middle class is 5% of the population, or maybe 10% of the population. So like 90% of the people are like really, 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 really poor. And there's this tiny middle class, and then there's the foreigner wealth and ultra wealth and stuff. It's
So
weird.
it's interesting that you talk about the casino and the stakes being the same there. Um, so obviously there's wealthy people that go, and when they go, they don't want to play for 5% of what they're used to playing because it won't trigger any dopamine. I heard, I think in Canada we hear a lot that Canadian tourism to the Vegas is way down. Vegas is dying because it's too expensive. Things are getting, they're outpricing people. People can't afford to go. But I actually heard a different perspective from some friends in the U.S. that do go to Vegas. They said, "No, Vegas is fine and dandy. Traffic is down, but the segment of people that aren't attending anymore are not the people that will spend. The people, the high rollers, the celebrities, or people that will come from LA and drop, 50 grand on a weekend. The expensive suites still book, the high end seats still go. It's just that the low end segment or the cheaper segment has disappeared. But effectively, the amount of money moving stays the same because the people that come to pop bottles and higher expensive entertainment and whatnot, that is still there. Just that the fact that, like, say, $5 tables are gone, and the fact that you have 000 roulette and you have crappier odds. So for the value oriented customers, they don't have a spot anymore. But the market just doesn't target those people. Kind of the same way, like, I think airlines will end up with larger premium economy sections, and eventually there'll be maybe 20% is economy, and then 20% will be standing seats down the road, and the rest is for the people that will pay more. As the airline, or like the amount of money spent is the same or higher, but the amount of people that can afford it shrinks. So I guess the casinos everywhere around the world kind of target this, right? Like, if you go somewhere and it costs 25% of here, the casinos, they will still run whatever stakes that people want to come in and play. And if you're in a tourist oriented place, or you have people that are extremely wealthy coming there, the casinos aren't targeting the low end people, right? Because the people who are sleeping on cardboard boxes aren't concerned about finding a slot machine that you can play for a quarter of a penny per spin, right? So yeah, it's interesting what's happening, I guess, overall with kind of tourism and travel in that regard. I think it's probably similar in most places. Like, I think most people that will go to a place, and I guess this will segue into what I want to ask you next. What are the prices like there? And I'm guessing that based for the activities that you'll do, the things that you'll go to, maybe it's a little bit cheaper for some things, but it's probably not that different. And I think that's going to be the kind of global standard. Like, if you're used to paying, say, 20 bucks for a meal and $5 or $10 for a drink, you're going to find that pretty much anywhere desirable to go is going to price like that, because they will have market for people to go there and pay that, because that's what Westerners will pay, right? Or even more than that. So yeah, how do you find the pricing there? Like, how affordable is it? And yeah, any surprises in that regard?
Wow. That was a lot of information, and I think, okay, wait. I think it's one of lots of things to think about there. Okay, wait. You want to talk about prices? I'll tell you about it in a bit here. You mentioned about Vegas. Um, I want to tell you, like, me and Chris talked about this the other day, and I want to
Yeah.
make a point here. Um, I call it Vegas being gentrified, actually. So, like, and this happens to communities too, right? It's too many, the marketing forces are too great that people know Vegas's name too much. And then all the rich people go there and they just ruin a place. It's sort of like ruining, mainland Vancouver, like, downtown Vancouver, because too many rich, people go there. And then you lose the culture, right? So, like, I think this just happens in many different situations. And really what happens really is there's another spot that becomes cool, and that's the place you wanna go to? So, like, I started thinking about, like, Kensington isn't that cool anymore in Calgary, but Inglewood's getting much cooler? Or Bridgeline's becoming the cool spot more recently, because, Inglewood's getting a little expensive. So, like, that kind of mindset of gentrification, I think probably Atlantic City is the place where you should go gamble now, or somewhere that's not Vegas. Um, so that's my thought on, like, gentrification. But you were asking about prices. Huh, you're totally right. What I wanna do is the same price or just slightly cheaper. No question about it.
Mhm.
Me and Victor have been exchanging texts, and I've been telling him how much things cost. Um, yeah, like, okay, wait. Windsurfing lessons are only $50 US for 2 hours. That's a steal. Um, like, labor is gonna be slightly cheaper, but, like, okay, what's the same price? I don't know, I bought a bag of pistachios. That was still 15 bucks, like, and I got it from, like, from my understanding was, like, a cheaper place, but it was not cheaper. So, like, I think so many things are on par or a slight discount because of labor. If they're imported in, they're still expensive. Like, getting stuff to this island's expensive. So, like, there's a different price divide between this island and the city substantially, just because of transport costs, right? Yeah. Well, you're in Calgary, yes. Are you traveling anytime soon?
No plans yet. So normally I go to Europe around this time for a trance festival, And I was looking at flights even up till last week. And actually, the flights were the cheapest I've seen in like 5, 10 years. Direct to Amsterdam, like 950 return on KLM, which is not a budget carrier, obviously. It's a solid airline, full service. And I almost pulled the trigger, but just have a few things to get done here. So yeah, normally I go to Europe at this time, but I think I'm just gonna head back to Asia in the fall and get some things sorted here. Originally, when I first got back, I was like, well, why would I stay? I could just go back sooner. But now that summer is hit, it's a bit nicer, spending time with friends. You can do things outdoors. And it's kind of like the nice appeal of Canada in the summer that I think you recognized a long time ago, right? Like, summer is great, blue skies, weather's good, there's lots to do. It's been a bit rainy here actually since you've been gone away. A bit stormy, a bit rainy. The weather's been a bit all over the place, but overall, summertime is pretty pleasant here. And the thing that I don't enjoy is the cold weather when you're kind of cooped up inside and you don't have options and driving sucks. So yeah, no travel plans. Fall, I'll look to go back to Asia. Just planning some travel around that, but it's pretty independent of pricing and the timing is totally flexible. Um, but yeah, it's weird to kind of be in town at this time because every year I'm gone away 4 6 weeks, or sorry, 2 to 6 weeks around this time usually. So I'm not usually in town for most of June.
Got it. Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess you're gonna travel the fall. Um, what were you saying earlier? You were
I
saying
mean, I was
about
gone away for 6 months,
yeah,
so
dude,
it's
you were
like
gone so
I'm
long.
not like my travel bug is like not really like that high. I'm happy to kind of have a bit of stability, have some routine, spend time with friends. I mean, I was telling, so I know, of course, there's gentrification where, an area becomes, like it goes from trendy to overpopular and then it becomes over commercial and whatnot. I don't think that's the case of what's happening with Vegas because obviously Vegas got trendy and they did a big EDM bubble boom. But I think actually Vegas is like an extreme example of like, the common term of the K-shaped economy,
Yeah,
right?
you're wait,
Where
when
like
you're
the people
saying
who have
you're pretty much
assets.
saying that, like, the rich people are better a price discovery to pay for the whole economy of Vegas. But the rich people only exist there because the marketing forces tell them that Vegas is awesome, right? It's like so they're going to Vegas because everybody knows Vegas is awesome, so they do bottle service and all this crap, but really it's not awesome, and it's just catered to be awesome. So, like, I think you're right, K-shaped economy, but I think what will happen is the bubble will burst when Vegas becomes not cool, and I think that's already like, I don't think Vegas is cool. I think Vegas is fucking terrible, but
But to be honest, I don't even think we're the demographic for Vegas. So I mean, like, they're
oh,
bringing things
what?
like F1, right? So, like for us, like maybe we're like, oh, it's ridiculous, right? Like, a hotel room is like, $1,200 a night for like something that's not even like a good view of it. And it's like actually we're not even the market for this anymore, right? Like
Not at
there's
all.
there's like belugas, there's like, great like there's huge whales.
Totally.
The demographic that's spending out there, like the people that are completely priced out are the people that would go and pay $50 a night to stay at Excalibur and play a bunch, spend $1,000 on penny slots, go to the tournament, the tournament of the Feast of Tournaments, whatever at Excalibur, watch the cheap shows. That segment is gone, or like they're priced out completely now. And I think that's actually different from gentrification because gentrification is more just like, oh, more people are going here, it's busier, so the stuff becomes more commercial, it loses some of its charm, and the secret's out. And I think the effect in Vegas is actually just like it looks like traffic is down and therefore like it's doing poorly, but then it's like there's a segment that's doing worse. So let's say the people that work
Wait.
in
So what you're
budget
saying? Wait, you're
casinos
saying
or
profits
restaurants.
are down, and I agree, profits are down. Like profits are steady and up. But okay, wait a second. But this happens in neighborhoods. Like the reasons why profits are up is because you have these big beluga whales who have heard the Vegas dream of it, being cool to fucking splash money.
I
But
think
don't
it's
you think it
different.
ends? You don't think it ends? Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's got
No,
priced out of Vegas.
it's actually different here because what happens like in most places for gentrification, like let's say an area gets trendy and hip and actually starts being busy, and therefore like what drives out the people that were there before is like, oh, the food isn't as good because now they have to serve it faster, and maybe they added a second location or expanded the restaurant. The food's not as good, the staff is not as good because the
But
owner's
also, like, the
busy doing
prices go up.
scaling.
The prices go up too, right? So, like, it becomes
Right.
fancy where, it used to be about the culture of the food, and now it's about the fancy, the price. No?
Yeah, yeah, of course. So that's gentrification. And the difference there is that it's like, oh, it's a new demographic coming in because they've heard it's good. And then what was there before doesn't feel as good to the regulars or the original people. But in that case, that's traffic up. In this case, like places like Vegas, I think the general traffic is overall down, but the spending of whales is higher than ever. And so therefore it's a little bit different from gentrification because
But
it's
wait,
not
wait.
like gentrification would be like, oh,
But
it's become
this
more
is
appealing for the
Vancouver
mass
though.
appeal.
Isn't this okay? So Vancouver, okay, Vancouver downtown, right? Main island,
Mhm.
where all these Asians and Russians bought all this real estate, right? Because they heard Vancouver
Mhm.
world class city, right? And then Vancouver sucks because nobody's living in these apartments, and there's like they can't support the local coffee shop because nobody goes to it in the main downtown because all the apartments are empty. Like, so I think it's similar. All these people bought these like fancy places, but then the population dropped in terms of the density, and then the culture is getting sucked out because you don't actually have the traffic or the population to support the arts or the great coffee or whatever it is. So I like Yaletown is maybe okay, or the southeast side is probably okay for now, but the northwest side sucks. You know, the center I saw too. But you're right. You're right. It's not quite the same. It's I think I just seen it a bit before Vancouver is what I felt, and I've heard about this in New York as well. Just like empty apartments.
Yeah, I think it's a little different though, because like for Vegas, like they're still spending a lot on infrastructure, right? I mean, they bring F1, obviously they have a
True. Yeah.
hockey team now.
Yeah. They have a hockey team.
EDC is going to be two
The
weekends next year instead of one, so which
2
is like a huge
weekends.
economy booster, right?
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, other festivals have gone to 2 weekends, Coachella, Tomorrowland, a lot of other ones. So EDC is going to be 2 weekends next year as it goes into like it's like 13th to 14th year in Vegas. So I think it's just more,
Interesting.
like the event space is massive there, and the amount of money that people spend on that is quite high. So I think it's a little bit different, but I see it as kind of like a travel trend where like prices will stay high, and it'll basically a lot of the population will get shut out from this because their wages aren't increasing, their expenses are increasing, and the cost of travel is higher than ever. Like even if you go within Canada, like if you go to Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto in the summer, I think you're paying 450 a night for like a like a Sheraton or something. And even if you were to go to say Halifax or St. John's, like somewhere in the Atlantic, I think Airbnb will run you 250, $300 a night, right? And that's for like a totally standard apartment where the rent is like probably $1,100 a month or something, right? You're paying 250 a night, so therefore you get the Airbnb effect in those places. But yeah, I mean that was just a segue from when you talked about the casino and the stakes there. But I
It's very,
think
very
in
interesting.
general, like,
Okay, last thought, last thought. When you go to the dome,
yeah.
that globe, have you been? Would you go to it? Would you want to go to it?
The Sphere?
Yeah.
You know what? I would go. I would check out a few of the different things there. I think they all the clips I've seen for different things look cool. Like it's the production is incredible, whether it's like The Wizard of Oz or it's like, Anima doing the melodic techno thing or, even Backstreet Boys. The production looks super cool on all of it, right? Like
Totally.
if you go to Vegas, why would you go to that instead of going to see like Celine Dion at Caesars or something, right? Like you just got to do it. It's just part of like the things you do there. You pay the $150 to watch a cool effect, right? I mean, it's a
Totally.
Vegas thing. And I think I would go. Would you go?
You know what? It's been on my mind to think about going, and at first I was like, that looks dumb. I don't want to go that, but I started seeing the clips, and I'm like, you know what? If the right show popped up, I would like to go. Um, but yeah, sorry, get off your train of thought. We'll get off Vegas. No more talking about Vegas. Tell me what you want to talk about.
Well, why don't I'm curious, are you still let's talk SpaceX.
Whoa,
I'm
SpaceX. Oh yeah,
curious,
fun, fun.
did you and Perry talk about this one at all? Or I'm
No,
curious to
no,
know
we
how
didn't.
that trade is going for you, if you're still playing it or what you're doing with it.
I screwed up. I was just busy that day, and I didn't do the trade like I really wanted to. You know what I was gonna do, right? You know what was my strat? It was really
I think I
simple.
saw a message about it, but yeah. Yeah.
I wish I wasn't so busy today because I was gonna put a way bigger amount of money on the line. Really, my theory was that Hyperliquid was gonna be the correct price, and the market was gonna be the wrong price. That's it. No
Yeah.
sophistication there.
Yeah.
Hyperliquid would tell the future, and if you just bridge that
It gaps up. Yeah.
gaps, well, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know which way it gaps. But my intuition was try to do a buy one way, sell the other way. Something like that. Exploit the differential somehow, right? So I didn't know exactly how to exploit it. And I was kind of too late for the IPO to get in. So I was like, you know what? I'll just put a buy limit order in. I'll watch the price and I'll just try to get in on um, on the stock and below the price of Hyperliquid, and then I'll sell and I'll just be ready to go. right? But then I got really busy that morning, and I got some stocks in at 150 right as it kind of opened, right? And that was perfect. And then it gapped right up, just like expected.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
yeah, I was up. But the problem was, my plan was to 10 or 100x my position. So I have a really tiny position, and I just got busy in those like 20 minutes because I was in New York at a hackathon, and I didn't have time to make the trade, to be honest. I wasn't paying attention during that, like, 15-minute window, and then when I came back to my phone, I was like, "Ah, fuck, I missed it," you know? But I had a small limit order in, and I should've just gone with my gut and put that limit order higher. I just thought I'd be around for those 15 minutes. That's all.
I would say, actually, well, even if you did the IPO, I feel like most people didn't get filled for very much. Some people got filled for a few shares at
Mhm.
most. So I think you didn't miss out too much there. But I think it's important to note that how accurate Hyperliquid is for kind of the opening price. And actually, this has been pretty common for when they did, different ICOs and token launches. They did pre-markets for many different tokens. There was pre-market for Hype, and even just like for the oil features and stuff like that, the fact that they run 24/7 over the weekends and things like that, the market is pretty efficient with Hyperliquid. I mean, I think there's definitely large players that are using it to hedge and using it, actively, uh, for that edge over when the market hours are closed. And I think now at this point with like the latest HLPs, and the with the different real world backing on different things, liquidity is quite deep on it. So for something like the SpaceX, it's extremely hard for that market to get manipulated to basically just like hunt out people in the wrong direction, which can much more easily happen on small cap tokens, right? And it has happened
Totally.
several times on Hyperliquid.
You saying, yeah, the power went out. I'm in Africa right now. What did you see there, Ed?
So the last frame I saw on your video when it hung, it was like darker. So I was like, I'm guessing the power went out there.
Yeah,
Have you had that experience multiple days?
it's probably flicked on and off about 3 times now since I've been here, in the 3 days I've been here. Um, I think we're back. I think we're back fully. Okay. Um, yeah, that's interesting. I think we're on, generator power maybe, or
Of
we're
course.
on solar or something. I don't really know. Because we're resorts. Yeah, so everything flicked off for about 30 seconds. I was in the dark. It was kind of scary one day. My dad was in the dark in the kitchen, and that freaked him out a bit, but eh, it happens. I think. Okay, wait. This is one of the problems with living in Africa. Like my uncles kind of say, it's like the water pressure is really crap right now for their house they have, and
Okay.
they have like water delivery now and stuff. But like for their showers and stuff, it wrecks everything. So like, oh, and even like the water control in the hotel I was staying at was the worst. It was like inconsistent between hot and cold. Um, I mean, just because I think their water pressure and their temperature controls were just, not the greatest. And we're staying in a pretty nice hotel. Not that high end, but still pretty nice. So I think it's just the
And obviously,
nature of
it's
living in
filtered or
Africa.
bottled water, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's all bottled water. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I think we were just talking about SpaceX before and the gap on Hyperliquid and how efficient that market is. Uh, so I'm curious, did you do anything with the price action with what you had? Did you sell? Are you still holding
I'm
or
holding because I was like, I have a micro position. To me, okay, what happens is whenever I do a weird trade, I try to hold any tiny positions just to keep a marker in my mind to tell myself like, hey, what happened? It's sort of like an archival thing. So like I'm watching, okay, the price is down again. I know when I got in it, and like I just like the knowledge of like to remind myself of where it goes. So just it tracks in my portfolio. So I know I'm tracking it, but to be honest, I don't think it's a good investment at this time. Like I don't know if I should go long or short. I don't really have a good feeling about what it's worth. I believe in the company, but I don't believe in the price.
I mean, the thing that catches my eye as from my experience in Web3 space is obviously the float, right? Like, it's a 5% float that goes to 25% in August, right? So it's a lot of unlocks, and you know, uh, at best you can attempt a scam pump close to the unlock time to give exit liquidity for the people getting their unlocks. but there's no bullish way to spin unlocks and supply entering the market, right? I mean, you know, you've got employees that are they're 8, 9 figures worth, and they'll be decentralizing their supply to the greater public for sure. Um,
Yeah, this is
so that I guess like it's just we've kind of seen this narrative probably more than people in the general markets have, just with how unlocks and cliffs and stuff like that work, and especially the low float part. Uh,
uh,
I mean, even I think that this even worked on people who are active in the crypto space, right? So, the narrative goes it's a 5% low float thing. So then, they see it going up, trending up first, and they pile in at like the top, at like, the first local top, and then they get punished. I mean, I saw this so many times, even with tokens like Plasma XPL last year, right? Like had a crazy run up, and then it was like just down only and unlocks and whatnot. Um, it's a tale all this time, but I mean, I also believe. I mean, like if you're going to invest in something, space exploration is a pretty darn good one for the future of humanity. But I mean, I'm not touching I don't really touch the normal markets very much actually, but I think I am really impressed with Hyperliquid's effect on the real world. And actually, I think that like the big players like Binance are really scared of Hyperliquid. Uh, and yeah, I think Hyperliquid is going to be very sticky. Um, I sold some hype tokens recently that I had from the airdrop, but I'm still holding. I think long term it's great, even if it is pretty high now relative to where it was. Yeah.
I think there's probably still like somewhere between 1 and 6 months of meta here of being able to trade from Hyperliquid to regular stocks and having that same gap potential. I don't think the word isn't out yet. I was meeting some hedge funds and some bankers in New York while I was there. They have no idea Hyperliquid exists. This is not even on their radar, right? They have no idea. And I think it's because it's so small you know, of a situation. People don't understand blockchain, don't understand the risk. And there is risk. There is a bit of risk. So I think
Of
um
course.
it is interesting. Hey, I got some weird news of um I should share with you because we're talking about tokens and blockchain.
Sure.
Um, so I did that hackathon in New York, right? And that was really cool. I can talk you about the project if you want, but I'll get to the end. We joined a second hackathon this weekend with the same project, and we launched a token as of 2 days ago. And I'm proud and sad to say that I launched a token publicly um, through a hackathon. So maybe there's some gray zone there. And the market cap is almost 300 grand, which is whack. This is weird. It's a weird feeling of launching a token and having liquidity, and it's weird. It's honestly like odd. I'm kind of confused by it. I think you understand this world way better than I do. I don't know if you want to talk about token dynamics at all, but like it's weird to be at a founder level of fucking tokens. And I gotta say, like, I don't know, the market cap's weird to me. I feel like this money's fake because it's not real. We locked up our tokens for 3 months. But bro, this is a hackathon. So like I'm not really
Sure.
taking this that seriously. But at the same time, sweet. Some people want to buy our token. Whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I've been a part of some token launches with friends and whatnot before, and just seen. Yeah, it's. I mean, obviously, it's not real, especially if you have locked tokens as a percentage of it. Also, liquidity doesn't support, everybody to exit at the same time. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a fake number, but it feels so different. Like, yeah, you can launch something and instantly you have this numerical value on the screen that's like, wow, it's like this, it's like created out of nowhere. And I mean, the crazy thing about tokens is like, for some people to be profitable on it, some people also have to lose. And unfortunately, I think most people lose pretty badly on it. I think, we both know many people in the space who have round tripped, 6, maybe 7 figures, literally back down to zero. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. And I'm glad to kind of be kind of outside that space nowadays. I think it was a really crazy thing. I still think that actually the similarities with the card market and like say NFTs is really high. I know we talked about it previously, but the similarities are there. And you like the I think that I'm also really scared for what happens for people when the liquidity pulls out of that market as well. So um, I don't know. It's a weird time. In all sorts of different markets, right?
Yeah, I'm confused by it. For me, I mean, it's a hackathon project. Likely it won't survive.
Hmm.
But I was actually
Yeah,
really
sure.
inspired by our tech. I feel like we created something that it's lived for 2 weeks now, so it's, a tiny amount of time. But I'm just inspired
So
by
what is the
like,
project?
ah, do I want to even talk about this stupid thing? Um,
What's the elevator pitch
oh
of
God, I
what is
don't
it?
even know. Um, okay, wait, I can do this. I haven't talked to like my friends about this yet. You're my first friend, I'm told. So I'm like very confused. I'm talking to like a whole bunch of 20-year-olds, like about, in this hackathon. I'm the oldest dude there. Um, okay, so the 1 minute elevator pitch is, what if you had these deep seek agents using open models, which are not expensive models, have a wallet and an identity, and work together as 100 agent swarm to predict stuff and share information. That's what we're building. That's what we built. Why? Because open models are IP unrestricted. They're sovereign, and they can. We think poor agents, as a collective, can beat rich agents if they have economy between them. Does that make any sense?
Hmm.
Um,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. I'm not sure if I don't feel like it works that way with uh models. I mean, I thought it's like a kind of like a exponential thing, which is why like, the doomsday scenarios are like, oh, like a country that's 6 months ahead in terms of like LLM models and training is like, it's like it's not 6 months ahead. It's like, the difference is like 10x, right? So it's like that scenario where it's like, once it's at like a programmer level, then it's like, it's a human supervising, and then it's like you have a better model supervising weaker models and so forth, right? So I'm thinking like, like if you were to have like a bunch of significantly weaker models on something running predictions, right? I mean, you're basically just doing like a large scale kind of like a modeling, right? But I don't know if I feel like it doesn't match the efficiency of just using a better model, but yeah.
So this is the hard part, because like, is that theory true or false, right? And I don't know the answer, right? But um, where we were inspired by this one really really popular GitHub repo called Mirofish, and it uses this agent swarm method, right? Of like hundreds of agents, but open model sharing together, right? And you doing individual tasks and then coming back together and sharing its information. So we built this agentic layer and then this blockchain layer on top of it with an economy, because we think the agents should have to pay each other for their information. So they all have their own
Okay.
wallets, and they all need to like, hey, I have a good piece of information, please pay me for it. And if I'm right, like we should share sort of mindset. And then also it's also generational. So the agents that suck die, and their genetic code gets
Hmm.
passed on to the next agent. So it's a weird system. And honestly, to be honest, I didn't do the hard coding. We have an AI researcher out of
Hmm.
Belgium who's this kid who's really smart. I actually did the prediction market side of things. That was the code layer I kind of built. And our first test case was kind of the World Cup, um,
Hmm.
to do some, betting there and prediction there. And it's kind of been fun. The name of the project's called World Colony, because our
Okay.
our our token, I mean our graphic is an ant, because we're an ant colony. You can check
Hmm.
it out at worldcolony.org, and it's an ant colony. It looks really fly. But remember, this is 2 weeks old, and it was like hacked together really quickly. And I'm not gonna pretend like this is like anything special, but like I think it's just been fun, really. It's been fun, kind of
How
touching things. I don't know.
well, how accurate has it been for World Cup predictions so far? I guess you're, trying to model brackets or match results
Mm,
as with live data or
Let's
information or.
let's not jump into the details there. Like it's too early. We've made 12 bets so far on Mainnet.
Mhm.
There's not enough information.
Okay.
But I think more so it's just the fact that by deving this system, it was hard to dev this system. The system isn't easy to build, you know? And
Yep.
I like it was built on good foundational layers, which I think like it's almost like building ChatGPT. You don't see the result until all of a sudden you type in a sentence and it finishes your sentence. You're like, oh my God, it's alive, right? You don't know how you create life, right? You have to like put stuff in a terrarium and all of a sudden it lives, and you're like, oh my God, it's living. I that feels like this kind of moment. Like I can't tell it's living or not. It's probably not, you know. So I have no idea. Yeah, there's a moment when you can tell, and the answer is not right now. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Funny, like, four if it was, like, 4 years ago World Cup, this could probably been, like, a 10,000 supply NFT mint where each one is, like, an individual agent and, like, a prediction model for the thing, and, you give, like, prizing as the rounds tick down or something, and, like, it probably would have sold out and ran, given how those markets were at that time, right? I mean, it's, it's I think it's coming from, like, a Web3 background. I mean, this one's still Web3, but, I mean, just seeing the way that Web3 stuff monetizes is so crazy compared to, I guess, like, traditional startup or business, right? Like, um, but the problem is, like, once you do the token thing, you've kind of like, you know, shot like all your ammo or played like
Totally,
your biggest card, right? So,
totally,
like
totally.
you don't really have a path from there. And with every project that we've seen after launch, like things take time, and like especially if it's a hackathon type project, like chances of being supported within like a month are pretty low.
Mm,
Let alone any real path or trajectory or signs of life, right? So, um,
Totally agree.
yeah, I
Totally
mean,
agree.
and then like you just deal with like the random people that are like, so are you guys gonna do anything with this?
So
Like
see,
people who bag holders.
so I feel bad for these people because I don't want to say that we are like I want to like it's like Elon saying price should go down. I don't think we're worth that. I think we're worth 100 grand maybe. Like what are we worth? Nothing. I think I also think that way too. Um, from one of the guys I met at the hackathon gave me a better piece of advice, and he told me, "Don't worry about that. This is just proving ground for the VCs that are in the room because you guys are showing off your skills." You know, and he might be right there. I really don't know. Honestly, I had a really fun time at this hackathon in New York. I gotta say, it felt like the big leagues of hackathons, and that was fun for me. I felt very old there. I felt like I was in the top 10% of age groups, but um, I don't know if you enjoy staying up all night coding or like working on music, but that's what it was. It was like all nighters, and that's insanity. I guess that's like a rave. I mean, hey, this was the line actually. Hackathons are raves for nerds. That's kind of it. I don't know. I said it better on a video, Deb. Um, I don't know. Interesting at least.
So you want to talk about nerdy things? So
Oh,
this weekend, so I started doing something nerdy. I started playing Magic Gathering again. And so this weekend was a new set launch. And so they do pre-release events, which are basically limited format. You go, you open some boosters, you make a deck. And so I played in one on Friday and I had a good time. So I played another one on Saturday and then I played another one on Sunday. So I went to 3 different card stores and I played pre-sale, and I had a great time every time. I went, paid my entry fee. Played it was about 3 rounds at each one. Spent about 4 hours total at each one. Barely looked at my phone and just used my brain playing cards and really enjoyed myself. And actually, I'm surprised like how many people play card games and things like Magic. And yeah, for me, it's pretty fun. And I have like the spare cash for it, and it's quite a deep thinking hobby, and I enjoy myself. But
wait,
I
wait,
definitely think
Ed, what
the
was the
nerdy
set?
energy is probably comparable.
What was the set? What
It's
was the
Marvel Superheroes, actually. It's the latest one. So now they have something called, these are all like they have all this IP crossover now. So they had like
Hey,
Spider-Man, they have
wait, pause, wait,
Marvel,
pause.
they had Jurassic Park.
I can tell you, I played the Avatar release of
Okay,
the
cool.
Gathering with
Yep.
one of my friends at I don't know, it was in like North Hill Mall, Northland Mall. Wait, it was by the university.
Okay, cool.
So I did one
Okay,
too.
yep.
You're not the only one who's playing Magic the Gathering out there, but so it was Marvel, and you played three different set openings in turns of Marvel.
Yeah, so you get the little pre-release box, right? So I joined on Friday. I 3-0'd on Friday. I 3-0'd on Saturday, and I went 2-1 on Sunday. So
Amazing.
like I actually I enjoyed a lot. I like the mechanics. I feel like it's quite a deep game. You know, there's a lot of thinking. I mean, there's similarities to poker because it's incomplete information, and also like you're calculating to outs, and you know you're playing around different possibilities.
Wait,
So there's a lot of lines that
how
you
many
can take
people
with
were
it.
there?
It's quite fun.
How many people were there at
Uh,
your events?
so the Friday one, they priced it like below retail price. Like I don't know how they can charge that little. And I think they had 32 players. And then Saturday was only 4. Then Sunday was 17. And I was trying out different stores, but really good experience. Honestly, like everyone I played with was friendly. There was a lot of like just friendly chat. And like even like the when the games are really close, because it's a pre-release. Pre-release is a really casual kind of thing. So even if it's competitive and the games are close, like the second that the game is over, it's like a your handshake, you're talking about the set. It was really enjoyable actually. Um, yeah, I mean, I could see myself playing more cards in store. It's a fun hobby. And actually, like what happens is one of my friends, so he got into it, and right before I left for Asia, and we had just started recollecting some cards, and he had spent maybe a couple of grand, and then I got back and I was at his house like a month ago, and he's like, "Oh, I have a lot more now," and so he showed me his room. I was like, "Are you opening a card store? Like, holy shit!" Like, and then they showed me like the value of his cards, and I guess like like between Pokemon and Magic and like other games like One Piece and stuff, a lot of people will have like like low to mid five figures worth of cardboard nowadays. I mean, whether it's the real value or what's the liquid value of it is kind of up for debate. But I mean, it's something to collect. It's a hobby. It's something to do. I think you'd be surprised. I think a lot of people play actually, and especially like kind of our demographic where it's like you played as a kid, and now it's like, oh, now you can still play, except that you don't have $10 to buy cards for the entire month or whatever from your parents. Like you literally have whatever you want to spend on it. You can be and actually compared to like a lot of the other stuff that we've done in the past, I think like actually like opening a box of booster packs is like very low on the degenerate side of things in terms of like the value for money that you get out of it, even though like objectively maybe it's not the best use of money, but it's still quite enjoyable. And I think surprisingly, like like if you have ADHD or something, Magic Cards is fantastic because you can sit there and sort through your cards. You can sort them by color. You can look through them. You can theory craft and build decks. It's actually, I think, if you ever have like, you have to, maybe have your own kid or one of the nephews or something. If you have attention issues, then get them to sort some cards or something, and you know, uh, teach them how to play Magic, and you'll be on point.
These are such good jokes. I'm gonna use these in my next set. I'm gonna do stand up. Okay, 5 grand worth of cardboard was a great line. I love that line. Oh man. Oh god, that's so fun.
I
Five
think it's a
figures
lot
worth.
more than five. Like
Sorry, 5 figures
I
worth
think
of
a lot.
cardboard. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, and ADHD is pretty funny too. That's a good way to think about it. Wow, that's hilarious. I played Magic as a kid too, and I like it in small doses. I actually started playing Counter Strike in I played at the airport in Dubai, and then I played at a gaming cafe in Dar es Salaam as well. Um, so I'm also reliving my youth. You know, I feel like a lot of things from our youth are coming back, and it's almost for our generation to teach our kids, you know, the things that we loved. And I see it totally still popular.
So I went for coffee with a friend this morning, right? And also a gamer, and now he's like his kids are just hitting 6 or 7, and he's thinking about trying to get them into some games because it's a good way to read, maybe learn some problem solving. But he said like a lot of these like the games nowadays, like everything is freemium, there's paywalls, and it's like, hey, you can get this too. Just ask your parents for money to buy the super cool red gems. And like he's like trying to find games that'll work for that. And we were talking about like how just the style is very different, right? In terms of exploration, discovery, even just like the camaraderie of games, right? Like I'd say like when you played Magic as a kid or if you played video games, like you didn't necessarily have you didn't go on YouTube for a full walkthrough. There wasn't like a character on screen. Hey Link, you should look at this wall. There's a crack there. Hey Link, I think you missed something back there. Like, you could literally just miss secrets in a game, right? And it's like you wouldn't know things. And then someone at school is like, hey, did you know that there's like a big flying green boss under the water in Final Fantasy VII, and he kills you in like one shot called Emerald Weapon? And like they'd be like, oh, I've seen it, but I stayed away. And like you just didn't have this knowledge, and like the games didn't hold your hands. And like the new age of kids, like they don't have this sort of discovery as you go through a game, right? Like I mean, maybe for like a multiplayer game, it's a bit like there's still competition, of course, but like the style of game is obviously different. But like single player RPGs and stuff, everything is handheld, right? You have like walkie-talkie communications, like walking you through every step. You've got an arrow pointing you where to go. Like there's no making your own mistakes. There's no thinking for yourself. Um, and actually, that's kind of what I like about like a game like Magic, right? Like once you play the game, uh, there's no hand holding. You can make mistakes. There's many of options that you can make. There's decisions you can make at every turn, and maybe you can change the course of it, right? Kind of like different streets in poker. So, um, I mean,
Think,
I think like for shooting games and stuff, do you notice your reflexes are worse at this age? Like,
are
do
you
you think
kidding me?
like,
It's
you know,
terrible. It's terrible. I've been getting my action by kids for like 7, 8, 10 years now. My reflexes are terrible. The only thing I have going for me is I have better leadership skills and I have like good strategy. So I tell the team rotate. Like I know where everybody is on the map. I can just feel it because I just played long enough. I just know the feeling of where everybody is. But I can't shoot where I cannot reflex at all. So it's horrible,
uh,
but I still find it fun, even though I suck. I took off. Okay, wait. I used to have this badge on Counter Strike, which is a 10-year token. Okay, and I used to have this because I played Counter Strike for like 20 years now, 24 years actually. There's no 20-year token for some reason. You think there would be, there's not. So there's a 10-year token, right? And I used to have this token on my account, and then I started getting old and terrible, and I kept getting chirped of like, this guy has a 10-year token, you suck. I kept getting that comment, and I was like, I have to take this token off. I have to take it off because I'm tired of getting chirped for sucking, right? And I'm trying to explain to these kids, guys, I'm like 20 years older than you, and my reflexes are shit. And it's painful. It's really painful, but I still enjoy it. I play competitive mode, which is like I still enjoy playing like the highest tier of like competition, but I get my ass kicked all the time. What I've noticed, you were saying this earlier about gaming, and the problem really is gaming's so mainstream now. Gaming used to be for the nerds. Like only nerds played games, and now everybody plays games, and then they just we watered down everything, so it's not like what it used to be. Um, but that's okay. I mean, just what it is. I think it's still quite fun. You got. I think that's why people bringing in retro and playing retro games. That's fine.
Yeah, I was playing a retro one that got rated really well called Mina the Hallower, and it's like a Game Boy looking one. And it plays a lot like the old Legend of Zelda games on Game Boy and even the one on Super Nintendo. And actually, the interesting thing is like I think I'm a pretty decent gamer, and I played for like the first hour and a half, and I was like, I don't know if I like this. It's too hard. I found it really tough. And then once I got into it and started to get a little bit, it was really enjoyable. And definitely wasn't a game where I was like, hey, go back and find this thing. Like literally, it was like there's like secrets everywhere for you to find, and like you really feel like that aha moment, kind of like an escape room when you solve a puzzle when you do something, which was cool because it was like you could literally go to anywhere, you could do anything. It was like based on your skill, and it's less like it wasn't like, oh, come back here once you have this thing. You can literally go anywhere, but some things will be more challenging, and some things will be greatly more challenging. And yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, I think the games are, there's all sorts of stuff nowadays, right?
Can you say the name of the game one more
And the
time?
pricing model is different. Yeah,
What's the
it's
name?
Mina the Hallower,
Mina the Howler.
Mina. Yeah, I think it's pretty. It got a 10 from IGN, which doesn't really mean anything, but still, like, it's rare for any game to get rated super high. And I think the sweet spot of games is always like these slightly smaller companies rather than the triple A kind of titles for me nowadays, because
Totally.
the big companies, they just they can just re-release the same game just with you know I mean, graphics are kind of peaked, to be honest. I think it's hard for graphics to become too much better at this point. The technology is kind of capped, and obviously the cost of memory and video cards has spiked to the point where uh it doesn't make sense for them. Like even like the Switch 2, which came out last year, they had to increase the price on it now. So I mean, in the past it was like, oh, just wait next year, the console will be cheaper, it'll go down by $50. Now the console went up by $50 waiting year over year. I mean, it's crazy, right? Like what a time. Like and it's like it's crazy. You buy stuff and it actually appreciates in value. Like you bought a console, it went
Yeah,
up. You bought
yeah.
Pokemon cards 5 years ago, they went up, right? It's like so your
Inflation,
hobbies
man.
actually just carry value now.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
ridiculous. I mean, this is why VR is coming. VR is coming. Okay, maybe AR is coming, but like one of these days, the dev problem of getting, being able to create all these worlds, I think might just happen. It's a saturation of enough people playing. We might get good VR soon. That's what I'm hoping for. But you need your headset to be way lighter, and I think it's almost there. But yeah, we'll see.
Have you used the meta glasses, like
I
the
haven't.
specs or
I
whatever?
haven't. I know a couple of people who have, but I haven't. It looks kind of cool that you can see your text messages, and it looks kind of subtle. I know a comedian wears them on stage to record. I don't know. It just looks like cool, but I have no idea.
So yeah, I mean, there's two things I've seen. It's either like people performing and they wear them, like so some of them, like DJ friends, I've seen them, recording that, or like someone performing like at a concert or something. Or it's like creepy pickup artist guys, like posting like the weird pickup videos wearing them.
Yeah, I heard that too.
And then there's actually the other cool thing I saw, and they show it with the World Cup now. So the ref wears a pair of like something like that. And
Recording,
so
yeah,
they
yeah,
always have like they show the video replay from the ref's point of view, which is like really cool actually.
yeah.
I think
Totally
like
cool.
some of the technology is going to make like sports enjoyment really cool overall.
Yeah, it's just world building. It feels like it's creating a whole couple layers deeper of. Man, I feel like World Cup is so popular right now. Is that the way you're feeling? Um,
Yeah, I mean, you're in Africa. I mean, outside of North America, soccer, football is always big, but in Canada, it's huge because we have a team in it now, right? Like everyone's suddenly a fan, right?
So I mean, it's one thing to be in Africa and see everybody wearing World Cup jerseys, and I bought one, but I don't like watching sports. I really don't enjoy it. I like playing sports. Constantly I want to go play rather than watch, but it just feels like lots of people are into soccer, lots of people are into World Cup, more than I expected. But I was in New York for the Knicks game, which was pretty
Yeah,
crazy. So that was kind of lucky too that
yeah.
that was going on. I didn't watch. I just watched some games on the street, and I saw parts of the parade, but it was cool. But hey, you gotta wrap up soon, or you gotta get going?
Yeah, I got to wrap up in a couple of minutes.
Uh,
Man, I saw this like one really funny comment. It was like some people like we are traveling to America from Belgium we're here in New York to watch the World Cup, and it's amazing watching the energy after the basketball game. He's like, America is so different from Europe because we're watching everybody of all colors unite and cause chaos and destroy things and wreck cars and start riots. And like in Europe, we're only used to migrants causing these things. And I was like, wow, brutal. I mean, there's
Well,
some pretty funny takes on Twitter from like people traveling from Japan to the US and stuff. Because like people have like very colorful images of the US nowadays.
mhm.
Um so like were hotels like crazy jacked up between the World Cup and NBA finals? Like how expensive was it to be in New York at that time? Like because I heard the games at the Garden were like starting at like 12,000 for like the shittiest seats, and like the average person was paying like 25, 30,000 to be there for like the finals games, like game 5, right? Yeah. Or yeah, 4 or
I
whatever. I'll just
noticed it wasn't very affordable, that's for sure. I stayed in Williamsburg this time, and
okay.
it was not cheap, that's for sure. Um, let's see here. Like I think per night. We booked a two-bedroom place with a good living room that had like a pull-out couch and everything for two of us, and we kind of turned it into a hacker house. So
Yep.
for the hacking, we had it for about a week, I think, and it turned out to being how much a night? I don't know, maybe about 500 a night around there, maybe a little more, a little more.
Canadian? Okay,
Yeah,
that's
a little
okay.
more than
Yeah.
that. So it wasn't too bad. This time around, I stayed not in Manhattan. I stayed in
Yeah.
Brooklyn, Williamsburg, which was actually way better. Way out of the tourist hub. It was only a 20-minute subway away. I had so much fun commuting to New York a lot. I took maybe like 35 subway rides in total in the week, and of just like connecting different places. I went to the airport there and back. I took a bunch of bicycles too. It was great. It was really cool actually. I really like New York. Especially like not being in the core, not in the tourist side of things. Have you been there before?
I was never interested before, but I mean, it's the city that's up there with London, Bangkok, Tokyo, right? It's listed. It's like one of those like the pure culture, entertainment, everything just like vibrant. Because like I hate LA, for example. Like
I hate
I
LA.
really can't
Hate
stand
LA. I don't
LA.
like LA. No way.
And yeah, so I am curious about New York at some point. So yeah, I'm
I
definitely
would try
interested
to
in
get
going
there,
there.
man. I was really impressed. I was impressed that like the density of people. It felt like anything you wanted to do in New York was there and at the top caliber. So if you're into a
Mm.
scene or a certain kind of thing, like like instead of you being first in your Magic the Gathering tournaments, 3 times in a row, you'd actually get some competition
Hmm.
because they'd be the best of the
Yeah, yeah.
best there as well, right? That's what it just felt like. It's like that hackathon had the best of the best there. And like all the things I went to that were, kind of different subgenres or whatever, like they just had great stuff. So I was really impressed and I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I want to go back.
I mean, that's the comparison, right? Like your London's, your Bangkok, your Tokyo, right? Like the cities where like, the cream of the crop, interesting things to do, people to meet, right? Like that rises up, right? Because,
Yeah.
uh, like only the best can survive in these kind of environments too, right? Like there's opportunity, but you got to be really good at what you do, right?
Yeah, that's
So,
what it felt like. It definitely felt like that. And I'm just glad I had a bunch of connections there this time. I went there with not just for the networking of the conference and the hackathon. Like I set up like, I don't know, 5 meetings with previous friends or colleagues from previous times I've been out there and just people I knew who moved there. And it was really fun just to connect with people I haven't seen in a bunch of years. And yeah, I had a blast. But right on, buddy. That was a good pod. Anything else you want to talk about?
no, I think that's pretty good. But yeah, I hope to do a few more. And the time is pretty good for me. I know the time is pretty bad for Chris for when he's working with Africa there now. So with your time, how long are you in Africa for?
I'm back on July
Another
3rd, so
two
I'm
weeks?
there for another week and a half,
Okay,
I
so
think.
another week.
A week and a half, yeah.
Are you
So
going to any Stampede events?
I'm sure. I don't know if I'll go to Badlands. I hear. I was planning on doing something for sure. Not no planned yet. You got any ticket recommendations?
I think the one or two I'd maybe go to at most is maybe Above and Beyond, which is the Wednesday, I think, and then Gareth Emery is on the Friday, and they're both Badlands. I was really impressed with the Badlands tent when I went last year. Like, I think like the sound and the production is quite good there. Um, like leagues above anything else that I've ever seen in Calgary. Like with the Chasing Summer and the other events, like really like Badlands production was quite good. And compared to most things, the pricing is honestly, I feel like pricing at Stampede is really not that bad compared to what you're used to anywhere else in the world nowadays. Like, 12 bucks for a beer or something during a big festival is pretty cheap in Canadian bucks.
Totally, totally agree. I sort of saw some Badlands last year, so I might go again. Um, I would love to see like I don't know. I like rock or alt rock, so
Hmm.
there's some really good bands. I
Yeah.
just need to find some friends who actually want to go watch them. Yeah, I mean, I might go to Stampede this year. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I'd go see Our Lady Peace for
Ooh.
the old school nostalgia. I think they're playing at the Coke stage, and I haven't been down to Stampede grounds in several years. So yeah,
Let's ink that in, buddy. That sounds like fun. I'll watch Arlie Piece. That sounds
I
great.
mean Stampede is pretty good for you pay like 20 bucks for a ticket if you get like the 2 for 1s at the max or whatever, right? And I mean you get pretty good concerts and shows there. So yeah, let's do it up.
Yeah, buddy. Well, hey,
Yeah,
good pod.
if we don't do another pod before you're back, enjoy the rest of your trip then.
Yeah, buddy. All right. See you later. Bye, everybody.
Good night. Take care.